So here are a few ideas to consider if you're adding some sort of color into your portraits. First of all, there's a lot you can do medium-wise with the color that you want to add. So you could use watercolor, acrylic paint, oil paint, pastel. So think about the end goal that you're going for. Watercolor is great to use because it's transparent, so you can see through it when you add layers, and it's buildable, so you can make the shadows darker with color but still have the highlights on your portrait blended over with the watercolor. Um, Something to think about too is what's going to work well with charcoal. Pastel does blend well with charcoal, so that's one option. But if you are doing watercolor, how is watercolor going to react to the charcoal on the paper? So consider at this point using maybe Photoshop as another technique and merging things together and then having it printed and paint on top of it, like what I have in this example that I did and that's in the video below. Or the other option is to just take a picture of your project or of your portrait, and then I can print it out for you and you can paint on top of what's printed. I do have a couple different types of paper, so you could consider having it printed on a watercolor paper and then using watercolor. So up to you, but here's a few more directions you can go. Consider different colors in one composition or on one portrait. So usually when you're using colors, you'll want to have warm colors in the highlights and cool colors in the shadows to really make that look more three-dimensional. So in highlight areas of the face, you'll want to use more of the warm colors. Like on this picture, you can see yellow, orange, pinkish, red colors are used. And then in the cool or in the shadows are more of the cool tones. So you can see the blues, more purple, green in those darker areas. So that's going to help to make those compositions pop. Here's a few with pastels, so you can see how well that blends. Texture is pretty cool if you want to bring some texture into your portraits when you're drawing, so you can see a little bit more of the lines, or texture with oil paint works well. This one on the left is really cool with either oil or acrylic paint, but you can see how they're bringing in and blending more colors and leaving the texture of the paintbrush there. And then the one on the left is just a great example of more of a monochromatic incorporation of color, where you're just doing one color and then the tints and shades of it. And maybe something like this on the right could be cool if you have your picture printed out and you're just using a really sketchy way to add that watercolor so that you can see the brush strokes and you can really see some cool layers with the colors. But think about how you want to bring color into your portrait if you're using this technique. Again, there's a lot of different directions you could take it.